Do you want to be admired, or do you want to be respected? Because these are not the same. Admiration is loud, fleeting, and often shallow. Respect is quiet, deep, and lasting. Many women chase attention without realizing they are losing their dignity in the process. And then they wonder why their words carry no weight, why their presence is ignored, why they feel unseen even when everyone is watching them. Respect is not demanded, it is earned. And in Islam, it is not earned through beauty, wealth, or approval. It is earned through character, consistency, and a heart that stands firmly with Allah. If you want to be the woman everyone respects, you must first understand this truth. Respect begins the moment you stop trying to prove yourself to people and start anchoring yourself to Allah. The first lesson is that a respected woman knows who she is before she walks into any room. This is not a slogan. It is a state of inner clarity. She has spent time with herself. She has asked difficult questions. She has reflected on what she believes, what she stands for, and what she will never compromise on. Because of that, she does not arrive in spaces trying to adjust her personality to fit people's expectations. She arrives already anchored. She does not borrow her identity from trends, from social media, or from whatever happens to be praised at the moment. Trends change every few months. Opinions change depending on who is speaking. Validation comes and disappears just as quickly. A woman who builds her sense of self on these things will always feel unstable because her foundation is unstable. Today she feels confident, tomorrow she feels insecure, not because she changed, but because people's reactions did. That kind of confidence is fragile, and people can sense it immediately. A woman who knows her worth understands that Allah defined her value long before the world tried to redefine it. Allah honored her with purpose, responsibility, and dignity. Her worth is not something she earns through approval, attention, or constant performance. It already exists. When a woman truly understands this, she stops chasing proof of her value. She no longer feels the need to convince people that she matters. That inner certainty changes how she speaks, how she listens, and how she carries herself. When a woman is confused about who she is, people feel it even if she never says a word. It shows in the way she hesitates, over-explains, or constantly looks for reassurance. It shows when she laughs at things that hurt her just to be accepted, or agrees to things that go against her values because she fears being disliked. Confusion creates nervous energy, and nervous energy weakens presence. But when a woman is grounded, people sense it immediately. There is a calmness about her. She does not rush to speak. She does not rush to react. She does not rush to prove herself. Her presence feels settled, not scattered. This is not because she thinks she is better than others, but because she is no longer at war with herself. That inner peace is felt before it is explained. Confidence rooted in Iman is very different from confidence rooted in ego. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not need to dominate conversations or seek attention. It is also not defensive. A woman who is secure in her faith and identity does not feel threatened by disagreement or criticism. She can listen without collapsing and respond without aggression. Her confidence is calm, stable, and unshaken because it is tied to Allah, not to people's reactions. A woman who knows who she is does not explain herself excessively. She understands that not everyone needs to understand her choices. She does not waste her energy justifying her boundaries, her modesty, her priorities, or her silence. She speaks when it is necessary and remains quiet when it is wiser. This restraint is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, it is strength under control. She also does not shrink herself to be accepted. She does not make herself smaller so others can feel bigger. She does not hide her values to avoid discomfort. And she does not shapeshift to be liked, changing her behavior, beliefs, or personality depending on who is watching. Shapeshifting may earn temporary approval, but it always costs long-term respect. People may like the version of you that adapts to them, but they rarely respect it. Stability is what commands respect. When people see a woman who is consistent, who is the same in private and public, who does not sway with every opinion or pressure, they trust her. They may not always agree with her, but they know where she stands. And in a world full of uncertainty and performance, a woman who stands firmly in who she is becomes rare. That rarity is what earns respect. The second lesson is that a respected woman has boundaries, and she does not apologize for them. This is one of the hardest lessons for many women, because we are often taught that being good means being agreeable, available, and endlessly accommodating. But Islam never taught us to erase ourselves to make others comfortable. It taught us balance. And boundaries are part of that balance. A woman with boundaries understands where she ends and where others begin. She knows what behavior she will accept and what she will not tolerate. She knows what environments nourish her faith and which ones slowly drain it. This clarity does not make her cold or unkind. It makes her safe. Safe for herself and safe for others, because people know exactly how to approach her. Many women confuse patience with self-neglect. They endure disrespect, dismissiveness, or emotional harm and tell themselves they are being patient for the sake of Allah. But patience in Islam is never about accepting injustice or allowing harm to continue unchecked. Patience is about remaining upright while doing what is right. A woman who allows her values to be violated repeatedly is not practicing patience. She is abandoning amana, the trust Allah placed within her to protect her dignity. A respected woman understands that every time she stays silent when her boundaries are crossed, she is teaching people that this behavior is acceptable. People do not magically learn how to treat you. They learn from what you allow. If you consistently excuse rudeness, minimize hurtful words, or tolerate being overlooked, people will continue exactly as they are, not because they are evil, but because human beings respond to patterns. Setting boundaries often feels uncomfortable at first, especially if you are not used to it. People may push back. They may accuse you of changing. They may say you have become distant or difficult. This reaction is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is often a sign that the old version of you was easier to access, easier to use, and easier to ignore. Growth disrupts comfort. A woman with healthy boundaries does not explain herself endlessly. She does not give long speeches to justify her decisions. She communicates clearly, calmly, and respectfully. She understands that boundaries lose their power when they are wrapped in fear or excessive explanation. She is not harsh, but she is firm. Her tone is steady, her words are measured, and she does not feel guilty for protecting what Allah entrusted to her heart. The Prophet ﷺ was the most gentle of people, yet he was also the most firm when it came to principles. He did not compromise truth to please anyone. He did not tolerate wrongdoing under the name of kindness. This balance is what a respected woman strives for. She can be compassionate without being weak. She can be kind without being careless with herself. Boundaries also apply to emotional access. A respected woman does not give her vulnerability to everyone. She does not share her wounds with people who have not earned her trust. She understands that not every listener is safe, and not every smile is sincere. Protecting your inner world is not secrecy, it is wisdom. When a woman guards her heart, she preserves her strength. It is important to understand that boundaries are not walls meant to isolate you. They are doors with locks. You choose who enters, when, and how. This choice is empowering. It removes resentment from your heart, because you are no longer overgiving and then feeling used. It brings peace because your yes is genuine and your no is honest. A woman who has boundaries does not fear losing people, she fears losing herself. And because of that, people treat her differently. They speak more carefully. They approach her with more respect. Not because she demands it, but because her self-respect makes disrespect uncomfortable. In the end, boundaries are not about control. They are about clarity. When a woman is clear with herself, others are forced to be clear with her. And that clarity is one of the strongest foundations of respect. The third lesson is that a respected woman controls her tongue. This does not mean she is silent all the time, nor does it mean she suppresses truth. It means she understands the power of words and treats that power with responsibility. She knows that once words leave the mouth, they cannot be taken back, and that careless speech often destroys more than intentional harm. A woman who speaks without control slowly loses respect, even if her intentions are good. Constant complaining, emotional outbursts, gossip, and oversharing may feel relieving in the moment, but they weaken a woman's presence over time. People begin to see her as reactive rather than thoughtful, emotional rather than grounded. And once that image forms, it is very difficult to reverse. A respected woman does not speak from emotion alone. She pauses, she reflects. She asks herself whether what she is about to say is true, necessary, and pleasing to Allah. Not every thought deserves a voice, and not every feeling deserves expression. Emotional honesty is important, but emotional discipline is essential. Without discipline, honesty becomes chaos. She also understands the danger of gossip. Islam is very clear about this, yet it is one of the most normalized sins, especially among women. Speaking about others, even casually, slowly hardens the heart. It trains the tongue to disrespect, and it trains the mind to focus on flaws rather than growth. A woman who protects her tongue protects her heart. And people notice when someone refuses to participate in conversations that degrade others. That restraint earns qiyat respect. Oversharing is another trap. In a world that encourages constant expression, restraint feels unnatural. But a respected woman knows that not everyone deserves access to her inner world. She does not narrate every hardship, every conflict, every emotional struggle to whoever is willing to listen. She chooses carefully who hears her pain. This is not secrecy or pride. It is self-preservation. When a woman exposes herself emotionally to unsafe people, she often ends up feeling misunderstood, judged, or weakened. A woman who controls her tongue also controls her reactions. When she is provoked, she does not rush to defend herself emotionally. She does not raise her voice to be heard. She does not insult to feel powerful. She understands that losing control in speech is often the fastest way to lose dignity. Calm responses in tense moments carry more weight than loud reactions ever will. Silence, when chosen intentionally, becomes one of her strongest tools. Silence does not mean agreement. It does not mean fear. Sometimes it means wisdom. Sometimes it means restraint. Sometimes it means trusting that Allah will defend what does not need explanation. A woman who knows when to speak and when to remain quiet becomes unpredictable in the best way. People listen more closely when she finally chooses to speak. A respected woman also avoids humiliating herself through speech. She does not beg, chase, or plead with words. She does not threaten to leave just to be noticed. She does not repeatedly explain her value to those who have already decided not to see it. Words used in desperation often come back as regret. She understands that dignity is protected as much by what she withholds as by what she says. The Prophet ﷺ taught that whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. This is not a small teaching. It is a framework for respect. A woman who aligns her speech with this principle becomes someone others trust. Her words carry weight because they are not wasted. Her advice is valued because she does not speak unnecessarily. Over time, people begin to associate her voice with wisdom rather than noise. They listen when she speaks because she does not speak just to fill space. And that is when respect settles naturally, not through force, but through consistency. Control of the tongue is not about suppression, it is about mastery. And mastery is always respected. The fourth lesson is that a respected woman carries herself with haya, not insecurity. This distinction is critical because many women confuse modesty with fear and restraint with weakness. Haya in Islam is not about hiding because you feel unworthy. It is about honoring yourself because you know your worth. Insecurity shrinks a woman, haya strengthens her. A woman with haya is deeply aware of Allah's presence, and that awareness shapes how she moves through the world. She does not measure herself by how much attention she attracts, but by how much integrity she preserves. She understands that being visible is not the same as being valued. In a culture that rewards exposure, restraint becomes a form of quiet power. This woman does not seek validation through her appearance, her body, or emotional display. Not because she lacks beauty or depth, but because she knows those things are not currency to be traded for approval. She refuses to turn herself into something to be consumed. And when a woman stops presenting herself for consumption, people instinctively treat her with more seriousness. Haya shows in how she dresses, but it goes far beyond clothing. It shows in how she laughs, how she speaks, how she reacts, and how she protects her private life. She does not turn her struggles into public entertainment. She does not dramatize her pain for sympathy. She does not overshare her emotions to feel seen. Her life is not an open display, and that privacy preserves her dignity. A respected woman understands that constant visibility cheapens presence. When everything is exposed, nothing feels special. But when a woman is selective, when she guards her inner and outer world, her presence becomes meaningful. People lean in instead of scrolling past. They sense depth, not performance. Haya also protects a woman from impulsive behavior. She does not act first and reflect later. She pauses. She considers how Allah sees the moment, not just how people will react. This awareness saves her from embarrassment, regret, and self-betrayal. A woman who protects herself from her own impulses protects her long-term respect. There is also strength in how a woman with haya carries herself socially. She does not flirt to be liked. She does not lower her standards to keep attention. She does not tolerate inappropriate behavior under the excuse of being modern or open-minded. She is clear, dignified, and composed. This clarity removes confusion. People know how to behave around her. Some may accuse her of being distant or reserved, but distance is not coldness when it is rooted in self-respect. Reserve is not arrogance when it is rooted in principles. A woman does not owe access to everyone, and when she understands that, she stops feeling guilty for protecting herself. Haya also gives a woman emotional stability. Because she is not constantly performing, comparing, or seeking affirmation, her heart becomes calmer. She is less shaken by criticism and less intoxicated by praise. This balance makes her reliable, steady, and trustworthy. People respect those who are not easily swayed. The Prophet ﷺ taught that haya brings nothing but good. For a woman, that good appears as protection, clarity, and respect. Not forced respect, not demanded respect, but the kind that settles naturally because people sense that she honors herself. When a woman carries herself with haya, she does not need to ask for respect. Her presence asks for it on her behalf. The fifth lesson is that a respected woman takes responsibility for her growth. She does not wait for life to become easy before she becomes better. She does not sit in stagnation and call it patience, and she does not stay wounded and call it destiny. She understands that Allah did not create her to remain the same person year after year while expecting different results. A woman who avoids responsibility often hides behind excuses. She blames her past, her family, her circumstances, or other people for who she has become. While those things may explain her pain, they do not excuse her refusal to heal. A respected woman understands the difference. She acknowledges her wounds, but she does not live inside them. She takes ownership of her character, her reactions, and her choices. This kind of woman reflects before she reacts. When something goes wrong, her first question is not, "Who did this to me?" but, "What is Allah teaching me here?" That shift changes everything. It turns hardship into guidance and mistakes into lessons. Instead of repeating the same patterns, she grows out of them. And growth is always respected. She is also serious about her relationship with Allah. She does not treat faith as something emotional that appears only in moments of crisis. She builds consistency in her salah, her dua, her remembrance, and her knowledge. She knows that spiritual weakness eventually shows in behavior, speech, and decisions. Strength with Allah creates strength everywhere else. A respected woman works on her character intentionally. She notices her flaws without hating herself. She recognizes jealousy, impatience, pride, or anger when they appear, and she does not justify them. She corrects them. This takes humility, because it is easier to point out flaws in others than to confront them within yourself. But humility is attractive. People respect those who are honest with themselves. She also understands that emotional maturity is not optional. She does not expect others to regulate her emotions for her. She does not explode and then apologize repeatedly without changing. She learns how to sit with discomfort, how to calm herself, and how to respond instead of react. Over time, people trust her more because they know she is emotionally reliable. This woman does not rush her growth, and she does not perform it for applause. She knows that real change is often quiet. It happens in private prayers, uncomfortable self-reflection, and consistent effort that no one sees. She is not interested in appearing healed. She wants to be healed. And that sincerity shows. A woman who takes responsibility also stops competing unnecessarily. She is not threatened by other women's success, beauty, or confidence. She understands that comparison steals focus from her own path. Instead of measuring herself against others, she measures herself against who she was yesterday. This mindset brings peace, and peace commands respect. She also accepts correction. When advice is given sincerely, she listens instead of becoming defensive. She understands that being corrected does not reduce her value, it refines it. A woman who can receive feedback without collapsing or attacking is rare. That rarity makes her respected. Taking responsibility does not mean being harsh with yourself. It means being honest. It means showing up for your own growth, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it exposes weakness, even when no one is praising you for it. A woman who is committed to her own development sends a clear message to the world. She is not stagnant, she is not careless, and she is not living on autopilot. She is intentional, and intentional people are always respected. The sixth lesson is that a respected woman is emotionally disciplined. This does not mean she is emotionless or distant. It means she understands her emotions without being ruled by them. She feels deeply, but she does not allow her feelings to make decisions on her behalf. There is a difference between being emotionally aware and being emotionally driven, and respected women live in that difference. Many women mistake intensity for authenticity. They believe that reacting immediately, expressing everything, and following every emotional wave is honesty. But uncontrolled emotion does not lead to clarity. It leads to confusion. A woman who is constantly reacting teaches people that her state is unpredictable. Over time, unpredictability erodes respect, even from those who care about her. A respected woman knows how to pause. When she feels anger rising, she does not speak until it settles. When she feels hurt, she does not rush to accuse. When she feels overwhelmed, she steps back instead of lashing out. This pause is not suppression. It is self-command. And self-command is one of the strongest forms of strength. She understands that not every emotion requires expression, and not every feeling deserves action. Feelings are information, not instructions. They are signals to be understood, not commands to be obeyed. This understanding protects her from regret. Many words spoken in emotion cannot be taken back. Many decisions made in emotional highs or lows create consequences that last far longer than the feeling itself. A woman with emotional discipline does not beg for love, attention, or reassurance. She does not chase people when she feels insecure. She does not stay where she is consistently disrespected just because leaving feels painful. Emotional discipline allows her to choose dignity over desperation, even when it hurts. And that choice, repeated over time, builds immense self-respect. She also does not weaponize her emotions. She does not cry to manipulate, withdraw to punish, or explode to control outcomes. She communicates clearly instead of dramatically. She expresses needs calmly instead of emotionally. This makes her relationships healthier and her presence safer. People respect those they feel safe around. Emotional discipline also shows in how she handles disappointment. She does not collapse when things do not go her way. She does not turn every setback into a personal attack. She understands that life includes delay, loss, and unanswered dua, and she remains steady through it. Steadiness in hardship is deeply respected because it is rare. This woman regulates herself before expecting regulation from others. She turns to salah, dua, and reflection before turning to people. She knows that Allah is the first place emotions should go, not the last. When a woman processes her emotions with Allah, her reactions become softer, her words become wiser, and her heart becomes lighter. People notice this discipline even if they cannot name it. They notice that she does not escalate conflict. They notice that she does not thrive on drama. They notice that she remains composed under pressure, and instinctively they trust her more. Trust and respect always walk together. Emotional discipline does not mean the absence of pain. It means the presence of control. It means choosing long-term dignity over short-term relief. And a woman who masters this learns something powerful. She no longer fears her own emotions because she knows they do not own her. That mastery changes how the world treats her. The seventh lesson is that a respected woman fears Allah more than she fears people. This is the foundation that holds everything else together. Without it, confidence collapses under pressure, boundaries weaken when tested, and discipline disappears when it becomes inconvenient. But when a woman's heart is anchored to Allah, her life gains direction and her choices gain weight. A woman who fears people lives in constant adjustment. She edits herself to avoid criticism. She compromises to avoid rejection. She stays silent when she should speak and speaks when she should remain silent, all because she is measuring herself through the reactions of others. This kind of fear slowly erodes self-respect. And once a woman loses respect for herself, it is unrealistic to expect others to preserve it for her. But a woman who fears Allah lives differently. Her decisions are not driven by popularity, trends, or approval. They are driven by accountability. She understands that one day she will stand alone before Allah, and no one who pressured her, judged her, or misunderstood her will stand with her in that moment. This awareness simplifies her life. It gives her clarity. It removes confusion. When a woman fears Allah, she becomes principled. She does not bend her values to fit social expectations. She does not dilute her faith to appear acceptable. She does not justify what Allah has clearly prohibited just because it has become normalized. This firmness may cost her popularity, but it earns her something far more valuable: integrity. And integrity is always respected, even by those who disagree with it. This woman is not loud about her righteousness. She does not use faith to feel superior or to control others. Her taqwa shows quietly in her consistency, her honesty, and her restraint. She does the right thing even when no one is watching, even when it brings no praise, even when it costs her something. That sincerity gives her actions weight. She also understands that fearing Allah frees her from emotional slavery to people. Praise does not intoxicate her, and criticism does not break her. She listens when correction is sincere and ignores what is rooted in jealousy or ignorance. Her emotional stability comes from knowing that Allah sees her intentions even when people misinterpret her actions. A woman who fears Allah does not compromise her dignity for companionship. She does not stay in relationships that pull her away from her faith. She does not silence her conscience to keep someone close. She would rather be alone with Allah than surrounded by people who weaken her connection to him. This choice requires courage, but it builds immense inner strength. This fear of Allah also makes her just. She does not wrong others, even when she has the power to do so. She does not gossip, manipulate, or retaliate unfairly. She knows that Allah is Al-Adl, and she does not want to meet Him carrying the weight of injustice on her tongue or in her heart. People trust women who are fair because fairness feels safe. Over time, people recognize something about her. They see that she cannot be easily pressured, bribed, or emotionally controlled. They see that her yes means yes and her no means no. They see that she does not betray her values for convenience. And even if they do not share her beliefs, they respect her strength. Fearing Allah does not make a woman rigid, it makes her anchored. It allows her to move through life with humility instead of fear, with courage instead of confusion. She knows who she answers to, and because of that, she is not shaken by every voice. This is the woman whose presence is steady, whose choices are clear, and whose dignity is protected even in difficult moments. She may not always be understood, she may not always be liked, but she will always be respected. And when respect comes from alignment with Allah, it is not fragile. It does not depend on seasons, people, or circumstances. It remains. Let me leave you with this reminder. Respect is not something you chase, and it is not something you demand. It is something that settles around a woman when her inner world is aligned, when her heart is steady with Allah, when her values are clear, when her boundaries are firm, and when her character is consistent. Respect follows naturally. The woman everyone respects is not perfect. She struggles, she doubts, she falls short, and then returns to Allah again and again. But she does not abandon herself. She does not betray her principles to be accepted. She does not trade her dignity for comfort or attention. She chooses growth over excuses, restraint over reaction, and accountability over approval. Understand this clearly. People may test you when you change. They may be confused when you stop over, explaining, over, giving, and over tolerating. Let them be confused. Discomfort is often the price of growth. You are not responsible for managing everyone's feelings about your self-respect. When a woman aligns her fear, her hope, and her trust with Allah, something shifts. Her presence becomes calm. Her silence becomes meaningful. Her words carry weight. She no longer needs to prove who she is, because she knows who she is. And that certainty is felt. May Allah make you a woman of clarity, dignity, and strength. A woman whose heart is firm, whose character is refined, and whose life reflects purpose. A woman who is respected not because she demands it, but because she lives in alignment with the one who honored her first.